Hey guys, and welcome back to another process video in my Tackling Disney series. Today I am tackling my title page. So if you missed my first Tackling Disney video, I am working on a Disneyland and Sea vacation album. So we were on a 2-week vacation. We did a week cruise and then a week at Disney World. So this is the title page for that vacation, and I thought it would be really fun to incorporate papers and pictures that represented both parts of that vacation. So let me apologize. I don't know where my footage is from me putting together the background of this, putting together those papers. It was there 1 minute and it was all good, and then it disappeared. I have no idea where it is. I can't find it again. Not quite sure, but you didn't miss a whole lot. All I did was pull some papers and then trim them down and layer them on that background. So the papers that I used are a combination of Cartabella's Deep Blue Sea, which is everything but that Disney print paper that goes through the middle, that light blue paper. That comes from Simple Stories Say Cheese 4 collection, and it is one of my favorite papers. I adore that paper. Like, it's so cute. Everything that you could want to represent a Disney vacation is in that paper. So I thought it would be perfect to add to this layout. So the pictures I've chosen were also pictures from each part of our trip. The one of the ship was the Fantasy when we were in port in Tortola. We took a island tour excursion, and that was our vantage point from one of the stops that we made around the island. And I love that picture. It's probably one of my favorites from the entire vacation. And then the one on the right is obviously the train station at the Magic Kingdom. You can't get into the Magic Kingdom without going through the trains or seeing the train station first. So I thought that would just be a perfect picture to symbolize the Disney World part of our trip. So what I'm focusing now on is trying to figure out some embellishment clusters. And I know I want to do 3, but I'm not sure where I want to go with them. So I went ahead, and you saw me just a second ago pull out my paper stash. And I pulled out the 2x2 element sheet, which has all kinds of 2x2 squares on it. And I cut out the one that says Our Adventure Starts Here, or The Adventure Starts Here, or something like that. And I thought that would be a good base for one embellishment cluster. And then now I'm just kind of going through my stash, trying to figure out what other pieces I want to include. And again, I'm not really sure where I want to go with this. And you'll see at one point, I get frustrated and I set it aside and I pick it up again the next day. And then it all kind of comes together. And I'll do that quite often. I'll just set things aside if I get frustrated, give it a day or two, come back, and then it all seems to make sense. So here I am just kind of battling with what do I want to do? Where do I want to go with this? Where do I want to put these things? And nothing is coming together. So here's where I come back the next day. And let me apologize, first of all, that this is very zoomed in. So I do realize it and I do fix it. I have a new camera and I have a new camera setup. And I didn't realize when I was recording this that it zooms in a little bit closer than what I'm actually seeing. So in just a few minutes, I'll realize that and I'll zoom out a little bit so you can actually see the entire layout. But I do figure it out in videos going forward. So my process videos, the next few of them should be a whole lot better. They shouldn't be as zoomed in as this. So again, I do apologize. So I decide that I want to do an embellishment cluster that kind of focuses on the cruise, and an embellishment cluster that focuses on the Disney park trip. And then the third one ends up just kind of being a generic cluster. Like, it doesn't really have a whole lot of anything to do with our trip in it. But I'm really kind of liking the way that came together. So these are all from the Simple Stories Cruising collection. So again, I pulled out the element sheet and I cut out that 2x2 square of the cruise ship, kind of used that as a layering base along with that ship wheel. And then I popped the Ahoy up on some pop dots. The anchor is a chipboard piece, and then I decide to, sorry, again, can't see that, but it says Bring on the Magic. I play with that, and then I do end up actually putting it on top of that 2x2 square, but I'm not sure if I show that or not. But back to the heart. So I decide that I want the heart to be a repetitive piece in all 3 of my embellishments. So you'll see me add a heart to the other 2 embellishment clusters as well. So I think this is kind of where I realize that I'm zoomed in a little bit, because obviously you cannot see what I'm doing down there at the bottom. So I'm going to zoom you out a little bit and you'll be able to see a little bit more of what's going on down there. That embellishment cluster down there I struggled with, partly because it had no theme. So again, the cruise one was kind of easy because it was all cruise elements. The park portion is kind of easy because it's all park pieces. That one down there really had no rhyme or reason, so it didn't come together as easily. So now I am working on the park portion of our trip embellishment cluster. So I got that cute little paper. That's a scrap from, I'm sure, one of the Say Cheese collections or the Echo Park. I have all of them, so I'm not quite sure where that comes from, but I love it. It's just a red and black polka dot paper, and I just think it's adorable. But the ticket comes from, I'm pretty sure it's the Say Cheese 4 collection, and then I've got that little round piece that has a castle. So those are there. I do decide to add that acetate heart that comes from the Ellie Studios. I believe it's Magical Moments collection, their new Disney themed collection, and I love it. I've got all of the pieces for that. I do end up using a couple of them on this layout as well. These are the Say Cheese 4 puffy stickers, and I must have 5 sets of them because I just think they're adorable. First of all, they're little, so you can put them in a lot of different places, and they're just fun. They're such fun designs. So I went ahead and I used that puffy arrow, and at some point I realized even though it's puffy, I don't feel like it's puffy enough, so I'm going to add some pop dots to the back of it. And for whatever reason, it does look better with the pop dots on it. I don't know why, but I do end up putting pop dots on it. And I think I'll do that in just a sec. But again, I'm still struggling with that embellishment at the bottom, but I do realize, I've got my hearts in all 3. So now I can just kind of focus on, I really wanted to layer a tag underneath there. I tried a couple different ones. I cut a couple different tags down and wanted to layer them under that Our Adventure Starts Here piece. Couldn't find anything I like. Eventually I end up going with that red one right there on the right. I tried that black one. I really do like it, but it was kind of big. So I did end up going with the red one, and I'm trimming it down just a little bit more so it fits. And I'm going to ink my edges, and that's going to be good enough underneath there. So, and I think then I'm going to turn my attention to my title, and my title is going to say Disney Land and Sea Vacation. So I'm using the tried and true wax paper trick, and I am spelling out land and sea with these simple stories. I think they're the Snap alphabets, but they're the red went really well with the red on the layout, and I happen to have enough of all the letters, which is hard sometimes, but I am going to spell out land and sea. And then the red letters to the right of this layout, the red and black letters, I end up spelling vacation with those letters. Then I've got these itty bitty black letters, and I'm going to end up using those to spell out Disney. So it says Disney Land and Sea Vacation. So then the last couple things I'm going to do, I'm going to use my roller date stamp, and I'm going to go ahead and put down the dates that we were gone. I ended up having to use this roller date stamp, which I don't love. It's got the date before the month. So this says 07 September 2019 rather than September 7th, 2019. As I went to use my other roller date stamp, it's the band that had the date on it snapped in half. So I have had it for a while, but apparently it had outlived its usefulness and decided it was done. So it fell apart, and so I had to use the one I had left. So these little Mickey heads are something that I got off of eBay a couple years ago, and I love them. They are wooden Mickey heads, and I believe there's a pack of, I want to say there's maybe 50 in each bag, and I got 4 of them, so I have a lot of these little Mickey heads, and they're just wooden Mickey heads, and I think there's like 4 sizes, maybe 3 or 4 sizes in the bag. They go from itty bitty teeny tiny down to a little bit bigger wooden piece. So I decided that I'm going to add that to all of my embellishment clusters as well, with the exception of the one at the bottom. So I'm going to add them to the cruise portion and the park portion Mickey head. So that's what you'll see me doing right now. Just gluing those on. If I can find them again, I will link them below, but I haven't seen them in a very long time. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add some enamel dots, and this layout's pretty much going to be done. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for joining me. If you have any questions, leave them below. If you got some inspiration, give me a thumbs up. I'll go ahead and stick in some still photos here so you can see how the whole layout turned out. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you again next time. Have a good day. Bye-bye.